Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 2017 and welcome back to Upton Farm. So we're going to hop right in and get things going, and as we're getting our day started, I'll tell you what the plan is and what is going on. So first thing, we are running face tracking now, and it's a bit of a learning curve. So ultimately, I know this is going to be a good direction to go in, but for the moment, it is it is a bit challenging. So, if it gets to be too much, well, if it gets to be too much entirely, we'll get rid of it. But if it gets to be too much kind of on a day-to-day basis, like on a day in the farm, we might just turn it off or hop out of cab or something. Wow. Right. I think. So it seems to be. Come on. Come on. There it is. Yeah, you know what? That's already frustrating. So let's get our oil change done first. So that's done. And then while we're here, we're going to put the row crop tires on here. Because we're going to be doing some fertilizing today. Let's see what the repair cost is first off. 100 pounds. Okay, so let's get that done. And then let's also put on the narrow tires. Done. So last night, game night, after I wrapped up, I went ahead and finished rowing up and foraging the grass from that other sort of medium big field that we had worked in. I took it up to the clamp. I dumped it. I think we're at about 70,000 liters in the clamp right now. Not nearly enough to, I don't even know if it's enough to let us clamp it, but it's not what we're looking to get in there. We want the rest of this grass harvest. First cut. And what we're going to do is, where our grass right now, all of our grass on the entire map, other than what we've cut, is growth stage 1, which is not a whole lot of volume there. And also, we haven't been able to get all of the fertilizer on it that we would like to. But we needed to get some cut because we want to make some money via silage, and also we wanted to feed our sheep that we got. And I actually got some more last night. We're up to 40 sheep. I bought some more, and then I sold the trailer to give us some cash. So we're going to check the map quickly and see what can get a third coat of fertilizer. So field 33 is grass. We can spray this one again. This little, I call it a nameless field or a numberless field. This can get a layer. These two down here, 32 and 34, 31 as well. These all have wheat drilled into them, and I think they may be growing. Okay, they are in a growth stage, so we can do these as well. So let us, I'm trying to think where the, trying to think where the front loader is. Front loader is on the rake right across the highway here. We'll go grab that, we'll bring it back, and we will dump some fertilizer into the hopper, into the broadcast spreader, and go get a little bit of that done. We did some mowing, we did some raking, we did some foraging. We're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to spray fert today, pellet fert, and we're also going to, find our rake. There it is. We're also going to probably drill field 27 or 28 with soybeans and see how that goes. See how long it takes and whether we want to do a lot of that, a little bit. You know what I mean. Right. So I'm actually going to take this rake and drop it right here, because we'll be working on the other side of the farm track when we when we continue our mowing. Yeah. Not off to the best start, are we? At the moment, the head tracking is just a massive distraction, and I feel like it's really taking away, but, you know, we leave the fail in. That's half the fun. Well, maybe not half the fun. Maybe it's like a third of the fun. Right. So, that's what we wanted to drop. Jeezy Pete's, everything takes like 5 times longer when you do it wrong. Okay, so now across the highway, and we're going to use this to lift some fertilizer pallets over the broadcast spreader. I don't know if that extra mobility is, I mean, you can see my head bouncing all over. I don't know if that extra mobility is, that's not me moving my head. My head is perfectly still. So I don't know if that's adding to or taking away from the immersion. We'll see. What was it we wanted? Solid fertilizer. 2 bags. And set the brake. Let me pull this rig forward. It also defaults to interior view when you have a face tracking turn. There's several things that you have to do. One is you have to be running your face tracking app, which I'm doing. And then the second thing is you have to turn it on in the game. Right, you have to turn the face tracking. Have to turn it on, and then the third thing is you have to, well, I guess this is kind of a middle thing, but you also have to be sure that you have the correct connection in your face tracking to work with whatever game it is that you're going to be, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a game. It could be a different kind of sim, but whatever it is that you're wanting to control with your face or your eyes or your head, you have to make sure that there's the correct interface. And once all that's done, then everything's happy. And I mean, it works. It's just going to take some getting used to. There's a lot of settings and adjustments and various other things that's on me to sort of take care of off camera and make it look good. All right, should be enough to get started. I think part of the challenge for me is I need to get everything reset when I'm comfortably in my chair. One of the problems is I end up in sort of an unnatural, not a contortion, that's too strong a word, but I end up sort of, I need fuel. Let me do that before we pull out. I end up in sort of a, you know, kind of canting my head a little bit to accommodate the face tracking, so it doesn't move or do anything unexpected or unusual. And it's not a natural position for me to be sitting in, and it's not something I can necessarily sustain for 40 minutes or however long it takes to record an episode. You get what I'm saying. So I think as we know what I mean. As we get all the bugs worked out, I'm confident it's going to be the direction to go in. Definitely for truck sim, definitely for flight sim. For farm, we'll see. TBD, like with everything. And while this is fueling up, I'm going to go ahead and hit my vape. Now, something else that I really need to get used to is I can't look around in my office the way I'm used to. Because if I do, like right now, I wasn't looking at my broadcast spreader. I was looking over onto my other desk to get my vape. But to you, it looks like I'm bouncing all over the place. So just little things like that. We're going to sort it out. And as I said, I think it's a keeper. Can't say 100%. Right, it's enough fuel. We got to go. Right. So let's do, let's work north to south. Let's head up to the field with no name. Yeah, too fast. Too fast, too sensitive. Okay, I'm going to hop out of cab so I don't make us both sick. Seasick. And let's get this little field done, and then we'll do this big wheat field over here. And what I may do, pardon me, what I may do in the interest of keeping things moving here, I may fertilize a little bit and then hop in the seed drill and do 27. Hop back in and fertilize a little bit. I don't know. I believe, yeah, I think this is going to be, when I get it posted, if I post it today, I believe this is going to be my 50th video, which is not really, I mean, it's a milestone in a way, but it's not, you don't get an award for it or anything. But I am definitely interested in learning how to do this as well as possible. And it's, can't say this enough, it's fascinating to me how many ways there are to do this wrong. And I know there are a lot of different styles and different types of YouTubers and different types of videos. So you could say there's a lot of different ways to do it right too. But I guess what I'm saying is there are just so many things that you can screw up, from the audio levels to the quality of the video to, you know, the quality of the encoding. And it sounds weird to say it, but it's like you just need to do everything right. And on top of that, I'm also realizing that you make little mistakes when you're gaming. Well, playing something like Cuphead, you know, it's kind of a manic, goofy, fun game. It's not really, honestly, it's not really that big a deal, you know. You're just kind of, it's a fun game. When you get into realistic simulation gaming or something like flight sims, you know, if you make a mistake, particularly in career mode, you crash and your character dies. And depending on what sort of standard you've set for yourself, I mean, if you've decided that you're in career mode and dead is dead and you won't go to an archived save game, if you lose concentration, if you make a mistake and your character dies, then your character's dead and you have to start over. You have to begin a new career. So the idea of playing a video game for half an hour or an hour and a half or however long an episode runs, playing a video game and trying not to make any mistakes at all, and talking the whole time, is a lot harder than I thought it would be. In a good way. It's a fun challenge, but it's really absolutely different than what I expected. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I decided to do this, because I was curious if I could do it. You know, how hard is it? What's the technique? And it's a lot of fun. But even just gaming, with the amount of focus that it takes, like I said, to try to never make any mistakes ever, is not what I expected. I guess I should have realized that would be a part of it, but it's different. Trucking, I know when I start getting toward the end of a delivery, you know, when I'm half an hour or 40 minutes in, and realizing if I get a ticket now, or if I just screw up and hit something and take damage, I don't want to re-record the episode, the video, but at the same time I don't want to post a mistake. You know, I don't want to post where I screwed up. And that's why I decided to leave in the fail, because ultimately I'd rather make a mistake and sort of, I don't know, not get caught. Have you see that mistake. I'd rather do that than get in the habit of piecing together and editing together and cutting together video to make it look perfect when I know it's not. And particularly because I'm talking along with these, I'm narrating them, or whatever phrase you want to use for it. And I don't want to get into the habit of, if I think of something, or if I say something, or if there's a particular phrase or line that I use and it's good, but then I make a mistake in the video and I have to go to an archived save and start over and re-record it. I don't want to get in the habit of trying to say that thing again, because now I'm doing a bit, right? Like now I'm doing an act, and I don't want it to be an act. I want it to be sort of live. I mean, obviously to recording, it's not live, but these are all one take, no editing. I just turn the game on, and that gate should be closed. I think I left it open. Is it a closable gate? Sure is. Yep. Well, I'm glad I saw that, because that was supposed to be closed. All right. Okay, so we're going to drive to where now? Field 32. Here we go. I feel like there are a lot of, I would almost call them compound settings. So the camera sensitivity in this game is different than something like ETS. So I have to adjust my curves and my face tracking to, well, I guess I could adjust the camera sensitivity as well, but then that controls the camera sensitivity when I'm not in a vehicle. You see what I mean? There's a lot of moving pieces. So I'll get it sorted out. I'll make it right. You can count on me. It's actually totally not true. You cannot count on me, really, for anything. I'm a total pirate. Didn't mean to be. Didn't think it would turn out that way. But yeah, I'm in advertising, man. Don't trust me for anything. You're right. So the grass I'm less worried about. I don't... So we've got 2 fields, and there's going to be a 3rd field grass field that we harvest in growth stage 1, which means when the other fields get to growth stage 2, these fields that we harvested will have reset back to growth stage 1. And we'll end up in a situation where we're not quite chasing the dragon, but we want to get everything to the same stage at some point. So essentially every time grass grows, you can, well, anytime really any crop grows or changes status, if a field goes from plowed to cultivated, or if it goes from growth stage 2 to growth stage 3, or if it goes from growth stage 4 to harvested, or whatever. As long as there is some type of evolution in the field, then you can typically apply fertilizer to it. Although we are running the hard manure mod, and that complicates things a bit, but that's the exception rather than the rule. In general, as long as something changes in the field, you can add a layer of fertilizer to it. So when the grass fields that we're not going to harvest advance a growth stage, we'll get fertilizer on them as well, which I believe will put them at 3 layers. Yeah, you see what I'm saying. Just need to figure out the timing on all this to get as much grass as we can, to get as much silage as we can, but we needed some, well, we need some money. Take a look at my map here and see what else we need to get. Field 34. So that is right down here. I'm trying to remember how to get into it. This is, we'll find it. Right. And I swear, I have made every possible mistake recording. I have recorded entire episodes with my microphone folded, so it didn't get any audio. I've done amazing 60-minute videos and then realized I forgot to activate OBS. Just, if there's a way to screw it up, I will. There it is. And this thing, oh. I don't know why this JBC, it's such a beautiful tractor, and I don't know why it is so belligerent when it comes to Gearbox. It's like it just fights Gearbox constantly. But, as is often the case with mods, I don't want to give up the tractor because I love it. And obviously I don't want to give up Gearbox because I love that, so I just suffer. I can't find a way to fix it. I mean, I can go into one of the XML files and try to edit something to make Gearbox work better. I do a lot of things. Man, I get busy. And that's the other thing that's interesting about gaming. I game for fun. Obviously, I game for fun. But we'll circle back to that, and we'll do that one last. As far as what I'm making for the channel, it's Farm Simulator 2017. European Truck Simulator 2. I was doing cattle and crops, but that's on hold for the moment. There is, what's the other one? There is American Truck Simulator. I'm evaluating 2 flight sims and 2 race sims. For European Truck Simulator and for Farming Simulator, there are a ton of mods to both. Mods that I have need to be kept updated, and then new mods need to be evaluated to see if are they good, are they worth it, is there a conflict, is there a problem, and it just seems like, I don't want to say it never stops, and I don't want to sound like I have some hard life or something. I'm not mining for coal or anything, but it is just amazing to me how many hours per day this can eat up to try to do it right. And I wouldn't say obsessed, but I'm like super serious about doing this right. And I was not prepared for the amount of time that it takes. Like, I sort of knew the amount of time that I was putting into recreational gaming and things like the mods and making skins and editing maps in the Giants editor to get them, exactly the way I want them, and just a whole slew of things. I sort of knew that, like, offhandedly, but I didn't really, I have to say, I didn't really internalize it. I didn't really, it didn't click for me what it would mean to add the recording and editing and also the evaluation part of what it is that I'm doing here. And when I say evaluation, I mean checking out games, making test videos, reviewing them with friends and family. Could this work? Does this have potential? Is this a good idea? All that sort of stuff. And plus having a life, actually, like having a life. So it's fun and I love it, but it is harder than I thought it would be. And I'm serious about being good at it. I don't know what it is about my personality, but when I get it in my head to do something, I really want to do it, and I really want to do it as well as possible. So that's sort of where we are now. And, this is, CD. I don't really need to move that because there's nothing else on this map but us, and it's not even a real map, it's just a video game. But the idea of leaving that palette like right out there, I left it there the first time because I was all enthusiastic to go and I didn't really see it, But now that I've seen it, it's like, oh man, I can't leave that there. So... am I caught on it now? Oh, game. Oh, game. Right. I should have just left it there. Alright. Now I've done it. And be careful, I don't bust the windows out of the T7 with this thing. Throw a couple of pallet fork blades through the window of a tractor. See if that's coming out of your pay, son. Right. Oh, game. Right. That would be, in my perfect world, that would be one of the biggest changes that I would see to this game, is some type of a something to help with really pallets and bales, I think. For me. I know other people just like crush it. I do not, as you have seen. Okay. And we're just going to put this right in when we get back, so... yeah, OCD is no joke, man. And I have said before, my OCD is not... my OCD is the kind of OCD that you can laugh about. And I know there's some people that... unfortunately, that is not the case. So when I make jokes about OCD, there's two things to keep in mind. One is, I'm in the club. I am a member. So I do get to joke about it. I've earned that right. And secondly, the jokes are never mean-spirited. They're always in good fun. And they are... I am well aware of the fact, and I'm very mindful and very respectful of the fact that there are people that are OCD, and it is really, it makes their life very difficult and very painful. So I am not in any way diminishing or making fun of those people. When I make jokes about OCD, I'm making jokes about my own OCD, and that's the end of that. That's enough serious talk. Let's do a little drilling. You know, I would love to be in cab right now, but until I get... oh yeah, I can't even begin to control it until I get those curves adjusted, which I will do. I promise. By next episode, have that all dialed. So I don't know where we are on time. I say about 20 minutes. So should we do the big one or the little one? Let's do this one. Is this just about a north-south right there? Sure is. Okay. Set the brake. Mm-hmm. Pretty close. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to drive all over this cultivated field. Sorry, immersion. Let us try to time this. Right there. Okay. So. This field is probably... well, this field may or may not even be big enough to use this 6 meter. I might, in a perfect world, have used some older, smaller seed drill that I'm sure we have laying around the farm somewhere. So this is maybe a little too big, but whatever. Just a game. Nobody cares. All right. So that will go there. Which means we need to pick this up right about let's say right down here somewhere, right about here. Yeah. I didn't need to drive to the other side of the field to do that, I just realized. To line that up, I could have used the GPS a little more efficiently. Living and learning, baby. You know me. Every day, living and learning. Now I peruse, yeah, love that word. I peruse a lot of websites of real agricultural equipment companies. And something that I know it exists and I'm well familiar with it are the cutouts for the various rows in GPS controlled seed drills. And essentially the drill, it's not just the tractor that's slave to the GPS, but it's the drill as well. And what that means is you can set these very complex sort of compound macros that allow the drill to selectively turn on and cut off, so you're never drilling the same part of the field twice, even if you drive over it. So essentially you turn the GPS on, you turn the drill on, you lower the drill, and then you start driving. If you drive across an area that you've already seeded, whether you turn the drill off or not, whether you lift it or not, it knows, based on its orientation and its position and everything else, it knows, and it will selectively cut rows and lift the drill components out of the soil. So I don't want to, I know that technology exists in real life, and I don't want to, in our game immersion here, I don't want to abuse it and just be unrealistic and unprofessional and everything else, knowing that there is technology to do that. But at the same time, I do feel like, you know, my feeling about headlands and the way I see some people, some YouTubers, you do their fields where they're just smearing it around like peanut butter. They just drive back and forth over the same place, and I really feel like there's not even an attempt to be realistic. They would be using a 12-meter drill in this field, and that's fine. That's their channel. They can do it however they want. But for me, I try to be very mindful of, even when I drive over an area that I've worked in, whether it's plowing or cultivating or seeding or what have you, I really do my best not to drive back and forth over those areas. I do sometimes, I have to. I'm about to right here. But to keep it to a minimum and just to try to be a good fake farmer. So when we do our headlands, I know there are several systems. I think New Holland has one. I think Cavernaland has one. Green Star from John Deere. There are a bunch of them, but it's a fascinating technology in that it can even do things like advance the speed, so that when you go around a bend, so in an old school piece of equipment, the It's just controlled by the speed of the wheel. So if you are going around a turn, the wheel on the outside is turning faster than the wheel on the inside. So for something like a seed drill, what that would tell it is, you plant more seeds, and it would theoretically have everything the same distance apart, even for the rows on the outside that are moving faster. But it doesn't always work out that way. Just the mathematics of circles and various things. But with GPS, you can have everything perfectly spaced. You can have the rate that the seed drops and everything else. You can have that controlled very accurately by GPS. And I don't think it makes farmers any less, that it means that there's any less skill required to be a farmer. But I do think, I could probably just go around the front here. I do think it's another way to make a farmer more efficient. And the thing about efficiency, I learned this a long time ago, and I think it's a great lesson, is efficiency, the best way to describe it, the best way that I've ever heard to describe it is, efficiency is either getting more result for the same amount of work, or getting the same amount of result for less work. Is that right? Do the same work, get more results, or get the same results for less work. Headlands. Four-wheel drive and headlands. There we go. So technology, I don't think it means farmers work any less hard or they have any less requirements as far as skill or anything else. I think it just means they get a lot more results for the same amount of work. So for instance, right here, it would cut the rows on the right side of the drill because we're working in an area that's already been seeded. As I understand it. I don't know how accurate it is. I don't know how forgiving it is. But I just know what I see in the video. It's amazing technology, and I love farm equipment. I'm not a farmer. I've never worked as a farmer. I haven't really spent a lot of time around farms. I mean, I grew up around farms, but not on them. I just grew up with farms, well, all around me. But man, I love this stuff. Tractors and technology and just all of it. I think it's cool. Right. So, in the interest of not making another 90-minute video, I think I'm going to park this up right here. Set the brake. All right. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to call that a video. So we did, what did we do? We did some fruit spreading and we drilled a field. Perfect. Folks, thank you so much for stopping by to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 2017, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now.